first podcast. First King Daryl here.
Second King Cameron.
Third King Greg.
And this is our very first podcast. This is kind of exciting. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it's gonna be cool because I think what we plan to do with the podcast is kind of give ourselves an easy form of content so that we can essentially make something in between the weeks of videos, as well as give you guys kind of like an insight. I think a lot of times, especially for us, we like having like ear fodder or like things to listen to, or we're just kind of doing whatever. Yeah. So this can serve as your background noise or just something to kind of listen to about like, you know, some weed topics, you know, some anything really. I mean, it's gonna be about like life, like fitness, it'll be anime, it'll be like life events for us, like anything crazy going on, convention planning. Yeah. And also it's going to serve as like a little bit of a, for those who kind of care, it'll be like the inside workings of like what's happening with the anime, the YouTube channel, Instagram, and like all the changes we're getting ready to make. So it'll be really cool to kind of get everyone, you know, kind of introduced.
Yeah, and I guess get a little bit familiar with each one of us.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think the plan is kind of anime, games, some gym stuff, and I think we were planning maybe every 2 weeks at least do a podcast. So 2 every month.
Yeah, exactly.
So definitely comment. You know, if you guys interested in what we have to say, that's awesome. But if you guys want to hear about our opinions on certain things, definitely let us know.
Yeah, just throw them in there. Whether it's on the YouTube like replay of this, or if it's on the Instagram Live, just make sure you throw in any suggestions or anything you want to hear about. If you have your opinions, throw them in there as well, because we'll respond to the comments and stuff, and we're super active on that. So
yeah, right here we're Instagram Live. So if you guys see us on Instagram, you guys want to you might miss certain stuff, and you always want to check in on us. Drop in on Instagram Live.
Yeah, exactly.
Comment on there.
Yeah, for sure. Our Instagram is going to be a really active coming up as well. We have actually a social media plan so that we can actually be active. Yeah. So it's going to be basically scheduled out, and it's really cool because we're going to have basically all 3 Kings doing separate amounts of days. So we're all going to do 2 days each. The cool thing is you get to see a little bit of social media based on that person's like personality / aesthetics and all that kind of stuff. So like Daryl showed us this already, and it's really cool, but it's really based off what's really like important to him. It also shows you like kind of his perspective on what's important, like what he enjoys and that kind of stuff. And eventually it'll be where like, then it'll be Cam's post, and he'll kind of show you his little opinion of it and like what we're doing. So we'll always have content except for Sundays. And that'll be usually the day we post our video. Well, we usually have like a video link we'll probably post on those days to like hype up on Sundays or something. Sure. Yeah. But that way it kind of gives you guys like a little bit.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It's really cool actually, because we showed Daryl's he showed us his little post, and it was funny because social media is generally not like Daryl's forte. But it's really funny when he like showed us the post. It's really good already.
Yeah,
it's super fun, and it does show like exactly what we're aiming for is like a different perspective on something.
Mm-hmm. It'll be nice, different little content throughout the week.
Well, it's your personality too, so it's not like social media based off what we think we should do together. It's hey, today this is Daryl's post, and so you guys get to kind of get like an inside look on that. Oh, I think Desiree's doing.
What up, Desiree?
Hey, what's up, Chica?
There's Cam.
Yeah, I guess.
Don't end video. Cam's about to end video by accident.
I guess kind of just jumping right into it. Especially with our first podcast, let's talk a little bit about each other.
Okay.
And I guess I can go first.
Yeah.
So, name's Daryl, aka Juvian. Not really too. Well, I don't know. I guess y'all can describe how I got that name. So.
It's great. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it literally stemmed from us all watching this anime called Fairy Tail, and there's a character named Juvia, and her power is essentially something along the lines of like water. Like she basically like has rain as power, and so it's really funny though because her personality is very sad, and that's why like rain is And it's really funny because she's really sad all the time and really depressed and very like serious about everything. And then eventually the character ends up like becoming happy with one of the main characters either way. But it's just really funny because in that moment, like when Daryl's stressed out and stuff, we started calling him Juvian, and just eventually like you'll learn that Daryl is always like stressed about something.
Yeah, so I've been in school for 7-8 years.
Yeah.
I just graduated in May.
Woo!
Physical therapy, whoop whoop.
Yeah.
And
No.
But yeah, I mean it's been a crazy adventure, and it's been stressful, and I think I've been journeying through this with these two guys for quite a while.
Yeah.
And you know, they supported me throughout the entire time. You know, keeping me as happy as can be.
Yeah. Bros, man.
But now,
brother wives.
Yeah, exactly. But now I'm finally done, and I just got my first job, and yeah, I mean, you know, things are looking
stuff,
up.
Man.
So
Long time coming.
yeah.
Yeah, especially like a job you enjoy, you feel comfortable in, and it's one of those things where it's the best of both worlds for what you're going for anyway.
So
and you have a lady that cooks you cookies and stuff, which is
I know
pretty solid.
Cupcakes.
She's a baker, so
chocolate strawberries.
Yeah.
Also, FYI, we went to high school together.
Yes.
We were not friends in high school. I didn't like him, to be honest.
I never had any issues with him.
Yeah, I didn't have any problems with him. It was just his friends group I didn't like, and he didn't like kind of walk around with his nose up in the air, you know. But after after high school, first time I met in the gym, bros ever since.
Yeah,
so that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I guess back in high school, I was like a mixture. So I played football. I was really into the gym, but I also played band. So I was like,
oh what?
Yeah, I played the saxophone.
I had no idea.
So I was in concert band, and I was kind of friends with like everyone. But yeah, I think you were like 3 years. You're 3 years older than you, or 4?
I think I was 2 years ahead of you.
So okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because you graduated
11.
Okay, I was 13.
Oh, look, it's Arch.
So. Yo, Arch, what up?
Yo.
Arch, baby. Dude, Arch went for me.
Hey, Desiree was in band.
Hey, he's Melvin.
What did she play?
Hey, Mel.
Do you know?
Hey, Chica, if you're watching this, comment what instrument you played in band.
Yeah. I was a saxophone player.
Like
so.
Flute.
Oh, flute. Clarinet.
Clarinet, I think. Maybe.
Yep, cool. I was never good at any instruments other than piano for a little while, but all I could do was copy notes.
See, that's the next thing I want to get into is learning how to play the piano.
You know what's really funny? I found piano very fun and like super challenging, but it wasn't challenging until we got to a point to where you have to do separate things.
Yeah, two hands.
If as long as one hand was doing one thing and like doing similar motion, like it didn't have to be the exact same thing. I could press all the keys as long as the hands were moving in the same place. But when you had to do this, because I was playing like Kingdom Hearts, I'll have to find the video. I wonder if it's done.
That's another good topic, Kingdom Hearts, man.
Yes. So favorite anime and favorite gaming series. So for me, my favorite anime, there's so many good ones. It's either between Naruto or Sword Art Online.
Yeah, there's definitely good ones.
I'm probably gonna go with Naruto.
We got a funny story about Sword Art Online when it comes to Greg's side. So.
Yeah, or maybe Bleach. I don't know.
You reference Bleach a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. You reference Bleach a lot.
I think Bleach is like your aesthetic, but I think your favorite anime is probably somewhere
One
along
Piece.
the lines of like I don't know, like.
I'm gonna go with Naruto.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Naruto as my because that was the very first anime that I started watching and got me hooked in watching anime, and then obviously started shadowing and watching a whole bunch of different other animes, but. Yeah, Naruto, and then gaming series. So my favorite gaming series is Kingdom Hearts. Hands down my favorite gaming series.
Really?
Yes. I love Kingdom Hearts.
I love the storyline.
Storyline is so good.
I don't think I'd be the person today if I never played Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those games where it's like, it's kiddish, but it's got a really
deep. It's real deep.
Deep, dark, sad story. Juvian-ish story.
Yeah. Hey, quick speed. Dang, favorite game.
Yeah. Well, hold on. All right. So that's a little bit about me. Who wants to go next? We'll go Cameron.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes. Flip the camera.
All right. So I am the second king of Three Kings, Cameron, and I met these guys a while back. So Greg was the manager in Stay in GNC. Mm-hmm. If anyone's watching this, and you guys went to stay in Health and Fitness, GNC was the place to go.
Yeah.
If you weren't working out, if you're trying to hang out to your pre-workout hit, you're going to GNC talking to Greg for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean the gym was literally like 5 feet away from
it's
GNC.
really across and it's like the perfect setup.
Yeah.
And then I knew Daryl from high school, and eventually we talked. I think Cody was working out with you at the time, and maybe that's how we first started talking. And man, that was the birth of Three Kings.
Yeah.
And I started fitness actually, to be honest, just to get back at some girls, because I would say in high school I was like mid-popular.
Yeah.
I wasn't part of like the popular group. I was friends with the popular people, but wasn't part of like the popular group. And there was a lot of girls that I liked and that didn't like rejected me. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna, I'm just focus on myself. I'm not gonna talk to any girls for a whole year, and then I'm just gonna do the YouTube video on the store yet, as well as our Kingz Live that'll be coming out here pretty soon. So, yo, dude.
Alright, yeah, let's pause this. Okay. Pause it and we'll just cut. What's it, boys?
Technical
We'll be back.
difficulties. But yeah, and I wanted to try to get as attractive as possible and like get them to like me so I can reject them. That was the goal. But eventually,
Did it
after,
work?
I mean, it worked somewhat because like a lot of them did hit me up at some point.
Hey.
Like because after high school, some people kind of like fall off. You have like a lot of attractive people that had sports.
Yeah.
They don't have it no more, and they kind of like fall off a little bit.
Yeah.
And so like I did have some reach out to me, but at some point, I actually like just really enjoyed the gym. And like the people at the gym, as much as a lot of people, if you don't work out and you're scared to go to the gym, I recommend just going to there because everyone was there at some point starting out new.
And find someone, try
workout partner.
Yeah, try to find a workout partner, get to know someone.
And I guarantee you'll make friends when you get
Oh
there.
yeah, I mean a lot of people are pretty welcoming and will, find someone that can kind of help you introduce you to the gym aspect.
Yeah.
I mean that's how we all three met was through the gym.
Yeah, and Arch just jumped in the live stream. He was my partner, man. Me and him best friends since middle school, and we pretty much are almost our entire like fitness career. We're workout partners for majority of the time. So like it's always good to have a friend to work out with. So it's my homie right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where we met, and it was a funny story about us because we all worked out, and when you go to the gym, you think this can be you think it's gonna be like a big stereotype. A lot of gym heads, they just a bunch of ego lifters and stuff like that. But surprisingly, at least at our gym, a lot of the guys play games and watch anime.
Yeah.
They never talked about it. And so like I was watching GNC one day, and Greg was like, "Hey, what's your plans for the weekend?" And Daryl was like, "Yeah, I'm probably playing some WoW." And Greg's like, "You play WoW?" It's like, "Yeah, I play WoW."
Yeah.
I don't play WoW, but I played Warcraft back in the day. And so like we all started talking about it.
And I think we got into anime, and like we both watched anime, but Greg didn't watch.
Yeah,
anime.
so that's gonna be a funny story when we get to Greg's side.
Yeah.
Ever since then, we became good friends, and we did go through a small company called ArmorFit, and that kind of grew us as closer friends. We were a part of that, and unfortunately, the company fell through. But we decided, like, hey, why don't we keep going? As we're already making T-shirts, we're already doing Instagram and YouTube. Why don't we do our own thing?
Yeah.
And that was like the birth of 3Kingz right there.
When was what year did we start?
ThreeOfKingz, whenever
Was it
2015? I think it was 2015.
Okay. Yeah.
It's been a while,
That's
yeah.
been a while. Gosh,
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Dude, it's been crazy,
That's
and I mean,
crazy.
it's really funny because it's literally been like ups and downs the whole way. But you know what the funniest thing is? I don't think I can ever recall the time where any of us were just like, man, I really don't want to do this. And that's the funniest part to me, I think, with ThreeOfKingz is it's never been, no matter what, it's never been like, oh man, I'm so tired of being in ThreeOfKingz, or oh man, this is a pain in the ass, or anything like that. It was always kind of like, oh, like, what are we gonna do next? Like, what's the next thing? And there would be times where like down, you're not doing as much, or it's like downtime and all that kind of stuff. But it's never been like, oh man, I hate this. Like it's never been like that.
No,
So
it's been a fun experience. I mean, we've been able to go to a bunch of conventions and just learn a bunch of different stuff. I mean, I'd never been to a convention until we went to one.
Yeah.
So
Dude, rave eventually.
Yeah.
a rave would be crazy.
Oh no.
That was like dream as a rave.
Yes, a rave. I want to go to a rave so bad.
Yeah.
Another thing to add to my side, for being friends with these two guys, my personality has changed a lot. From me being a hothead and like someone like confronting me, first thing I want to do is just punch them in the face. To like now being friends with Greg, Daryl, I've like calmed down a lot. I've like slow to anger now, and like I try to like listen to people's sides before I like get high-headed and like try to figure out where they're coming from first before I decide to get defensive. Like what. I took that the wrong way. I need to look at it from a different perspective. So, I suppose a good thing about not only meeting new people, but ThreeOfKingz as well. We're a inviting community,
Yeah.
and we're always here to help out other people. That's the whole goal of ThreeOfKingz is to help people, better themselves.
Yeah.
So.
And I think we've all three, kind of evolved and changed
Yeah.
and meshed really well.
Yeah,
together,
this dude was he had stage fright.
Yep.
We have a bunch of scenes of YouTube videos. So every time you watch our first 3 videos, they already had to prep for 15 minutes for each video.
He breathing anymore?
Presentation. How's it feel being in the spotlight?
It's a lot better. I'm being genuine.
Yeah, dude.
It's actually genuinely a lot better when you're
It was like 3 years
you're not
ago,
breathing
man.
heavy. Like you're not you're actually confident. The tonality's good.
Yeah, man. So
Ah.
cool, man. And then I'll go.
We had a little line, a little write on board or whatever the board, the marker
script.
boards,
Yeah.
and he would have the script on it. It's really,
Speaking of, this is not a script, okay? This is topic lines.
He's lying.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, public speaking has always been something that has just been challenging for me. Just talking in a smaller group has been okay, but speaking to just a large group of people.
Say 50 people.
Yeah, or maybe 15 or 20.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Smaller groups I'm okay, but yeah, large groups. Yeah, but I think as
Bulldog, thanks for joining.
Yeah, Bulldog. But yeah, I think as I progressed through school and had many opportunities of presenting on through physical therapy school and then being with y'all and doing these type of things where it's not really in my comfort zone has helped me a little bit. I mean, I'm still not the greatest, but I'm improving, and I think it's a skill that I'm always working on. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really funny because your personality, especially Kim's in the beginning, was definitely one of those where I've always been kind of the moderator between Daryl and Kim in the beginning. It was kind of there'd be that moment of tension where you're outside watching it, and you're this is where it's gonna pop off. So I'd always be the guy who's kind of just sitting there, just kind of playing the field and just kind of okay guys,
And there's a couple times over the years where me and Daryl would have little arguments.
Yeah.
And get hot real quick.
Yeah, and so it's one of those things that's really funny to watch it change over time because Cam doesn't really get hot-headed anymore. And it's more if he does make a backhand statement, it's nowhere near the level as what it was.
But a smart-ass comeback and everything.
But I also think texting is the worst.
Yeah.
Because talking to someone is different than portraying the thought process of someone else's emotions through a text message.
Well, yeah, you can't hear tonality, and that changes everything. I mean, it shows you the importance of body language as well as emotional tonality and stuff. But I think it's also funny because as that's changed, it's also Daryl's changed in terms of he can talk to people, do all that stuff, and so it's been really fun to watch from outside. It's just been.
I mean, this was my boss, so.
It's really cool though because he actually at GNC was really fun. I really got to see this process daily, where it was couldn't talk to customers. You could tell he was trying to do his job and trying to do his best to sell whatever he could, but it was just he couldn't he was doing it as a job versus enjoying it. And then he got to this point where started actually becoming oh, okay, cool. I go to work and it's fun to talk to people, and it becomes this process of blah blah. And I remember the one time him calling me when he had his first big thing for school for in front of his his group of people. His presentation, and he was talking about how he was really happy that he had done GNC because of the fact that you weren't as nervous, and that was cool. That was for me especially, it was just really funny because we both played a part in that, and so it's really fun to see that, and it's I don't know, for me it's just been crazy to watch the whole change throughout the whole thing, and it's I've obviously kind of just I've always I've just kind of been mellow, but I think it's fun because these guys are my outsource of oh man, I want to go out, I want to have fun, blah blah. It's these are the guys that I want to go out with, and have fun with because it's they get me. They understand. They're I don't really care to be doing this or that. I'm not a drinker. I'm not a smoker. So it's people I can hang out with and just have a good time with, and not really care about. Oh shit, these guys are gonna be out here being dumbasses or this or that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so it's really cool. And anytime we have interests or wants or whatever, it's all of us get invested in it, and that's the cool part. It's I've never had people where you can go, oh man, dude, I think this is a really cool idea, and they look at you and they kind of go, yeah, this is what's cool about it. It's not oh no, that's shit, fuck it, I don't think it's a good idea. And it's even if it is a bad idea, they're no, I think we should do something along the lines of this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that's cool when you meet people that motivate your creativity and motivate your process. I think it's a really cool thing. But I guess we'll go to me.
Yeah, well, so.
Are you still
favorite anime?
Favorite anime and then favorite gaming series.
Yeah, that's a rough one for
passing the torch.
I'd say that's a hard one. There's a lot of good.
That's what I'm thinking of. I don't know, dude.
I've watched a lot of animes recently. I want to say Naruto because but I'm not gonna put it in this list because Naruto was my very first anime, and I think your first anime is like always gonna be like your sweetheart. You know?
Yeah.
Because I'll never forget the very first episode of Naruto I ever watched was the episode of them fighting up with Zabuza on the bridge.
Yeah.
Because my dad was watching it after school, and I was like watching cartoons, and I was like, oh dang, this fight seems actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know? And so like that introduced me to anime. You know, I watched Dragon Ball Z growing up when I was a kid, but I didn't really like pay attention to it. But Naruto was my first actual anime I watched. But I'd say my very favorite had to be Erger. I think. Erger. Just because like
it's a cool concept.
It's a very short anime, and Iggy, the main character, he just has like this, pretty much is Naruto, Natsu from Fairy Tail, and like Midoriya, like just, I'm not gonna give up. Like I don't care what happens. And there's times where like he gets this, like he gets beat down at the very bottom. There's no way out of it, and no matter what happened, his mind was never I'm gonna lose. Like I'm getting through it no matter what, and I always thought that was really cool. And I'd say that, and like right now, currently, my favorite anime is probably be My Hero and Demon Slayer.
Oh, yeah.
Those are really good. Slayer, yeah. I'm excited for the new season for My Hero.
Yeah, I agree.
To fully come out, and I'd say my games, I'd say
Call of Duty.
I want to say Call of Duty. I'd say as far as like fun wise right now, it'd be League of Legends, just because like I play it every day. I play every night. But I'd say growing up, I'd say Kingdom Hearts probably one of my favorite. I put so many hours in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. And unfortunately though, when 3 came out, I've been waiting for all these years. I think I only played it for an hour.
No.
And I think it's just because now I can't play story-driven games anymore.
Yeah.
As much as I'd like to. But
I've yet to play it. Surprisingly,
yeah.
I haven't played it yet.
And there's a lot of stuff.
I think there's a lot of I think
it was only out on PlayStation at first. I think it just came out on PC recently, so now I can buy it. But I've been so busy with school, I just haven't.
Yeah, work.
Yeah, work. Yeah.
But yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Your turn.
I think. Yeah, shit. What was it? Like what? I'm Greg. I'm Third King, and essentially, I guess like what are we starting with? Three of Kings, like or
how we got into Three of Kings.
Yes. Okay. So I essentially was the manager at GNC, and that's how it all pretty much started. We would all go to the same gym, and this dude Stanton Out Fitness was like this fairy tale of a gym. It was really funny.
It was our second home, man.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was actually one of the only gyms I ever went to that I was like, man, like I would spend 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night. I would go there before work, after work. I talked to everybody in there. It was probably the last time I was like super social in gyms because it's just like for me that was like the place where like. There was enough people that I actually gave a shit about that like it was like okay cool like no matter who was there you could always talk to and like everyone got the idea of like oh let's talk for a bit and then go work and it was one of those things where it was really cool because in between sets you could have people talk to and then go right back to your set and everyone kind of got it. You just kind of meshed I think and you had really funny personalities like Wes and all that where it was like really loud and kind of crazy. But it was really good because he was definitely, there's multiple days where I'd go in there like tired or whatever and I'd hear like Wes freaking out and so it'd be really, really cool.
Yeah, it's funny, man.
Oh, I think your mama joined. Oh.
Is she?
Yeah.
Hey. Is that mama?
I think so. Marina?
Yeah. Come on, what's up? We're all here.
Yeah. But
doing a podcast.
Yeah. But in terms of like starting out, it was really funny because I remember talking to them at GNC and it was like Cam and Arch and I remember meeting Daryl a little bit later. And it was really funny because Cam and Arch would always be in the locker room like filming little edits of like Cam doing the slow-mo pouring the the new pre-workouts and he always talked to me about his performance and what's up little man? Hey, it's Kevin.
Yo, what up, Kevin?
Hey, what's up, dude? It's a little bro.
Yeah, little bro. Hey, we gotta get you in on one of these, man.
Yeah, man.
Shout out your Twitch and stuff. But
Fortnite.
little highlight video. I seen your highlight video, man. Don't worry. But yeah, so after meeting like Cam and Daryl over the years, we started doing a little bit of like Armor Fit, which was like our first kind of venture together, I suppose. And it became this thing of it's like along the lines of like we were all happy with it. It was pretty cool. It was nice of Caesar to kind of introduce us to a lot of things and kind of introduce like the whole like fitness, like clothing, apparel, like that kind of that scene. But when it didn't kind of fit what we were looking for, I think we all kind of had the idea that like. Hey, like, I think we want to push this in a direction of our own. And so it was kind of along the lines of, like, once we came out with like Three of Kingz, it was one of those things where
I'll never forget that talk, man.
Huh?
I'll never forget that talk. It was in the gym.
Yeah.
On the like second treadmill, closest to the desk.
Yep.
And we're all just sitting there with the bags of the treadmill. Like it's like, man, I'll never forget you saying it's like, no, we just do it.
Yeah.
Like, we're already doing Instagram, we're doing YouTube, we're making the shirts.
Everything, man.
We do our own thing. I'm like, I didn't even thought about that.
Yeah, I think it was the funniest thing because for someone as defensive as you were at the time, like as like prideful, you were doing like all this stuff, and I was like, dude, the amount of pressure you would put on yourself versus the value, I was like, man, like that's something that like you were doing so much work, dude. You were doing literally anything above the sun, under the sun, like it was just crazy to me, and I was like, I came to show up just to like wear the clothes and whatever, and I was like, man, like this dude's literally running the company. Like, why not just like why don't we do it? Like, and at that point, I thought of you guys as like pretty like friends, pretty much. Like, and that's not as usual for me as most people, I suppose. And so I'm very like you start off at zero and then kind of work your way up kind of person. So why did I not get invited? Don't worry, you'll get. Yeah, you just got invited next time, dude. Hey, you can come to the next one. If you talk about Fortnite more than 3 times, though, I get to body slam you. But yeah, so it was really cool to see when it was kind of like a moment where like you said, like on the treadmill, it was like you could see your eyes just kind of go, oh shit.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it was really crazy because you kind of like had this moment of like, wait,
you're right.
That is true. Yeah. And it was really funny to watch because it was just like, man, like the amount of potential this had. And I remember just thinking about it going, dude, this guy can draw, this guy can like make shirts, he's motivated, does everything that he wants to do, you know? Like, and then I was like, Daryl's the same way. You could tell Daryl, like from the day I met Daryl, it was kind of like, dude's diligent. That's like the number one thought I had about, I thought about Daryl, dude, I just thought like pack mule, dude. He'll literally put anything on his back, he's got it, you know? And as funny as it sounds, it was like, that was comforting to me in a way because it was like, I'm very like outspoken, boisterous. I make a lot of friends, like well, I make a lot of acquaintances or whatever. But it was one of those things where you can feel when there's like a genuine connection, you know, like I work at GNC, I've been there for a long time. And I meet people every day, right? So you get to assimilate and talk to people and kind of learn how people are, and so you learn a lot of like social cues. And it was really funny because although they had like their little quirks and stuff and things that were kind of like, okay, this might not be that great. It was one of those things where you could feel like anything they said or did was like genuine. There was never a moment where I was like, oh man, these guys are lying to me, or like it was like if it was like something white little lie, it didn't matter. But it was like you could tell if it was like, oh man, like this is like these are dudes that like if I said something and like I wanted to put some money into. Invest in, like really put my time into, put my like, you know, heart into it. It was one of those things where I was like, man, this is a good time to do it, you know? And so I think it was cool. So after that, these guys started like talking to me. I was all into fitness, really loved doing that, and was like helping them train at the time, like basically just getting them on a little bit of a diet and a workout plan.
Yeah, he trained us for a little bit.
Yeah, I got into a little bit of like a personal training mode, trained about like 5 or 6 people, was making good money actually. It was funny, like people are willing to like trust you, and like it was funny because like I was pretty lean at the time, and it was like I was doing cardio all the time, and diet was super clean.
I'll never forget cardio at the time.
Dude,
dang spurts, like 20 seconds of like walking, and then 1 minute full blast. Like, oh my god, how am I gonna survive this, dude?
I think mine was more of the diet.
Yours was heavy on the diet because you said you would do a lot of cardio. Yeah, I remember having to talk because I remember telling Cam, I was like, because the way I like doing cardio was wind sprints essentially, and so either way, it would like kind of spazzed off of that. But
I'm not a cardio. I'm a cardio person now. Yeah. When I went through physical therapy school, I found the importance of cardio. Yeah. But at the time, I was like, I'm gonna lift all this weight.
Yeah. I got to that point too, where like I've been
ego lifter.
Yeah. Dude, back then I love doing cardio. Like I still like doing cardio, but like back then I was literally doing like 2 hours a day in the morning and then 2 hours at night, and I was working out constantly. Like it was legitimate. Now whether I was working on the afternoon workouts for 2 hours, probably a joke, but it's probably like an hour and a half. But we were all kind of just chilling there, and so either way. You were just going, and then they start showing me like anime and this and that. They're kind of talking about it all the time.
Yes, here we go.
And I remember just them telling me all the time, like, no, you should try this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, like not for me. I play Warcraft, but that's about it, this and that.
This man binge watched Naruto in like, what, a week, 2 weeks? I don't even know. Like this,
dude, it's not even jumped to that yet. Like, it was so funny because like, I'll never forget, this is when Black Ops 3 came out. Yeah. And Daryl invited me over to his place, like, hey man, you want to try Call of Duty night? And so I'll come, so I went to his house, set up my Xbox, played, Call of Duty all night, and then eventually I think he got kind of like tilted. And then he started, he watched Walking Dead or Vikings the rest of the night, one or two. And then the next morning, he's like, hey man, you want breakfast? It's on me. I'm like, cool. And so this is when his girl was working there at the time. And me and him was eating breakfast, and he was like, I remember Heather came up to us like, yeah, I wanted to watch my show last night, but I couldn't because someone wanted to watch Naruto. And then he was like, yeah, I'll watch Naruto. I'm like, dude, I watch Naruto. And so then we started talking about anime, and then eventually go to GNC, Greg would be there, we talk about anime, and Greg's like, I don't know what the fuck you guys talking about. And then eventually he's like, dude, he plays WoW. WoW's an MMORPG.
Yeah.
Sword Art Online's about a player playing, an MMORPG and gets stuck in the game. It's like perfect scenario.
Good, yes.
So dude, you should watch it. He's like, nah.
Okay.
Oh, was that your first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the very first one.
I thought it was Naruto.
Sword Art Online was the first.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then it was like
That's
month.
a really good one.
Talk later. All right. See ya.
See you, man.
That's your mama.
Oh.
See you, mama. Love you.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we would go in there and every day for a month or so, hey man, you watch the anime yet?
Yeah.
Hey, did you watch the anime? And he wouldn't budge, and then out of nowhere, I got off work one day, I got my gym clothes on, got my pre-workout ready, I started sipping it, walked to GNC, and before I even walked in the door, he was like, F you, F your cat, F your dog, F all you guys. I'm like, what did I do? He's like, man, I just watched the whole first season of Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
I love it. I hate it.
It was so bad.
I love it. I hate it.
And then that was the birth of
that was the creation
Greg
of
watching anime.
Because now I would say you are
He watched more anime than me now.
Yeah.
And Daryl put together probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because when that happened, I remember watching Sword Art Online, and there's this weird phenomenon because Sword Art Online is either hated or loved by everybody. It's you either hate it or love it, and I was one of those people that full blown loved it.
It's so good.
From the first season and everything, I was just so hooked into it because at that point I really didn't watch TV or didn't watch anything really. I legitimately was working out so much that I just didn't care. And I was doing GNC workout before GNC, after work all day. And then it was man, I started doing anime, and I'm man, well, I have some time at work. I was I'll just sit here and watch this at work. And so I started getting to this point where, man, I was man, what's the next good one? And they told me Naruto, and I'm
that's a lot.
they're it's 400 some episodes, but at this point with Sword Art, I was dude, if it's this good, I was I don't care. I want it to be longer, I was
I kind of avoided it for the longest time because we called Greg Pervy Sage.
Oh, dude.
He hated that nickname.
It was the funniest thing. Okay, because as a person who doesn't know anime very much, you're man, Pervy Sage doesn't sound too great, right? You're this is kind of odd. And then...
he's a great character.
Yeah, so when you watch the series, you eventually learn that he's it's actually a compliment. It's actually a good thing. Yeah. But when you hear it right, you're this ain't good. And I'm fuck you guys, this doesn't make sense. And either way, so it was one of those things where I go to watch Naruto, and it's the same feeling I had with Sword Art Online. I got swept in it, dude, the whole fantasy universe and stuff. I played MMOs for a long time, so it was perfect. It was man, it just hit home. All the big moments, you remember the leveling up, the acquiring new weapons and stuff, and you just equate it to things that you've done, and so it just kind of rolls. And Naruto was this moment of I remember watching the first season. I remember Cam telling me all the time, and oh man, it gets really good in Shippuden. And then Daryl would say the same thing, it gets good in Shippuden. Yeah. And I'm I don't know what that is. And I'm just but while they're telling me this, I'm sitting there going, man, if it gets better than this, I'm chilling, right? Because I was enjoying it. A lot of people don't enjoy the first seasons of
I thought the first series was pretty good.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't, and it's one of those things where I personally enjoyed it, but a lot of people think it's slow because you're getting the character introduction.
There's a lot of fillers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fillers.
And it was really funny because even that, fillers, every episode, I watched literally every episode of Naruto from start to finish in close to, I think it's 430 some episodes or something, and I literally watched it in a month. Yeah, it was.
Have you finished it yet?
No.
Dude.
Alright, man. I only got 4 more episodes left.
There was a moment, too, I remember having with Cam where I was man, I seen this spoiler of this dragon thing, and then Cam was dude, there's no dragon in Naruto. And I remember us having this conversation. I'm dude, I swear to God, it was Naruto. Exact same style. I was dude, if this was one of those fan made things, it's insane. And Cam was yeah, I don't know, dude.
It's probably within those 4 episodes.
It is. That's what I told him, dude. It's freaking.
That's great.
It's the
All right, so for your information, I was in the process of finishing Naruto. I'm literally when the big fight happens, dude. Tachi, Naruto, Sakura, the Hokages. and Madara is there.
Yep.
Like, this is the big fight. I'm
Obito.
right there.
Yep.
And then Greg and Daryl's like, I don't care what you're watching right now. Stop what you're watching. There's an anime called ReZero. We're watching ReZero.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I only got a couple more episodes. Like, dude, just watch ReZero.
That's pretty
Okay.
good. Yeah.
And even though I didn't get to finish Naruto, ReZero was.
Hey, it became the spokesmodel for Kingz, okay? Zero
Yeah.
2 has become the spokesmodel, so we can't say that it was the worst decision, but he still has not finished the last. It is the hypest episodes of probably any anime out
I'm
there.
just too lazy to go back and
It's
like
so
figure
good.
out exactly where I was. Like, I don't remember what number episode it is. But,
Dude, it's probably like 415.
Didn't you watch Boruto?
No.
yeah.
Oh, are you?
See?
Oh, you're up to date on Boruto?
I'm not up to date.
Oh.
I'm at the part where like what's the Orochimaru's son?
Oh, yeah.
He like runs away to the hidden sand village.
Yeah.
And then like like the whole conspiracy with like the
Yeah.
Kitsukage or whatever.
Yep.
So
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's really funny because like anime was one of those things that was like monumental in my life. Like it's really crazy to see the difference because it's really like
Probably changed you. I mean,
Well,
it's probably evolved.
dude,
I mean, a lot.
Naruto would do it to you.
yeah, well, it was like
A lot of life-
that and
life-changing
anime in
moments.
general was just like this moment of like a lot of my inspiration was like super internal and it was kind of like more like blah 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 and like I was more like diligent than I was like motivated to be
Like
able to do.
before anime.
Yeah, before that, I was just kind of like, do it because you have to. But like after watching things like Naruto and you watch like Sword Art Online, you just see like them overcome these obstacles. As funny and cheesy as it sounds, it's one of those things that it becomes this like external motivation. That's like, man, I read this thing I'm way deep. So just like skip ahead right now. I'm literally like reading mangas. I'm ahead of like everything. I know all of My Hero at this point. Like there's things that haven't come out that these guys won't even see probably in anime for the next like 4 years. I'm already read into because I get super addicted and then I'm like, oh man, I really need to read it. So I just go read them and I read the light novels even, which are the books of the animes before they come out to that.
Right.
So
See, I never got into reading the manga.
Yes,
and,
I get the
and-
same
I hate
feeling.
reading.
And I'm just like,
Dude, I literally
it's so crazy.
I read Solo Leveling like literally even
But
yesterday.
is that like what it's called?
It's Solo Leveling.
Okay.
It's legitimate. It's rated probably one of the best it's a manhwa because it's a Korean manga
Okay.
basically. And I read that and it's literally rated like probably the best like upcoming like it's projected to be one of the like highest rated manhwas ever created.
Wow.
It's insane the amount of numbers it gets downloaded. And
I would hate
stuff.
to read something like that because after that, what do you have? Like damn.
There's
Is
a lot. No,
Is there
there-
an anime on it?
Okay, so that's the funny thing right now is everyone's putting these thumbnails on their YouTube videos like I just showed you. And so they're putting Solo Leveling as the title because it has so much hype built around it. So if it doesn't get an anime, I'd be really surprised. But I don't think as of yet, I don't think there is too much put on like it actually becoming an anime. But it will. Like it's so popular, there's no way
It'd be
it would.
crazy at the
It just wouldn't make sense. And it's such a good storyline too. Like it's so fun to watch. But that one was like you're watching this and it's such a like motivational like arc of like a lot of animes do this. But there's a lot of things that you experience through anime that like is kind of funny because it gives you those sad moments, those happy moments. It gives you like all that crazy stuff. I mean, there's been animes I watch and it just breaks you, dude. I remember watching Made in Abyss and like there's like moments in that where you're like, dude, this is like one of the freaking hardest things to watch because you want to watch it because you want to finish it, you want to like understand what it's going for. But God, dude, there's times you get in there and you're like, dude, I don't know if I want to finish this.
Some
You know,
animes
it
are
hurts.
like that, man.
I don't
Like-
know. Naruto's hit me so hard. Like,
Naruto's good.
I mean,
too.
the scene where they were on the bridge with
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
with
Zabuza.
yeah,
Yeah,
and just that whole scene aspect.
that was such a
That I
mind-blow.
mean, I literally cried. Like
Yeah.
that was like
There's a lot
the
of
first
times.
anime.
Dude, Haku was a girl. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't care what they say. Haku was a girl, man.
But it's just so like.
Trap.
Yeah.
I don't care. Yeah.
Cam's like the one guy I'd go for.
Well, well, even Naruto mentioned it in there.
Good thing he's
'cause
gone.
Naruto thought it was a.
I mean, it was meant to be. It was meant. He fulfilled the role of being a female because he wanted to be Zabuza's lover. Like it was the first gay character that you
Yeah.
got introduced into Naruto.
yeah.
But Zabuza, it's. I mean, they
That was
the
a
way
crazy arc, man.
yeah. So there was a lot of
So
stuff where
sad.
it like even that. I mean, it introduces these concepts of like someone who loves someone, but can't get it reciprocated because they're kind of like doing work and like they're kind of too involved in their shinobi war and stuff, and times are getting dire, so there's like no time to love or care about each other. It's
Plus, Zabuza was like full blown warrior, like he didn't care for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could tell at the end he did, but you could tell that he regretted not saying anything about it. And I think that's the moment of like realization to where like anime becomes more realistic. I mean, there's a lot of things like Dead Man Wonderland was one that I watched.
Was crazy.
And it invokes emotions that you won't get from other things because it can cross lines that you can't cross in a lot of things, right? And I think that's really, really crazy about it, you know. But I think that's why a lot of us have the personalities we do. Realistically, I think there's a lot of animes that I watch that like I pick up character traits and you're kind of like, oh, the way they perceive things and the way they're meant to be antagonistic is really interesting. So like it makes you think about things, and I think that's the nice thing. Same thing with like K-pop. We watch K-pop, and that changes your perspective on like a lot of things as well. It's like, oh, this is. Like, I mean, Daryl had a moment where he's like, man, like, these guys look like girls. And it's like but factually, I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, but what he means by that is, like, they're feminine. Like, and what
culturally,
we would...
Culturally, I don't understand.
It'd be like, well, it would just be, like, feminine in our culture. Because we're used to big beards, lumberjacks, like, smack a tree down, you know, hop off a fucking ship. And, axe to, you know, whatever, you know, Viking mode. But when you start finding, like, Korean culture and you start seeing, like, the like how pretty a lot of them are and how much they value like
fashion,
fashion as well as like being really pretty and like being like in shape, and that becomes like a motivation in the culture. And so it's one of those things that you start to pick up and you're like, oh, I used to think this was like really manly, but now I can look at a guy that's like in K-pop and like dresses up very femininely, but you see how they present themselves and how much like force they bring. EXO is like a perfect example. Yeah. They're feminine in look a lot of ways because they're so pretty and they're like super sculpted and blah blah. But when you see them hit a stage, you just get this moment of like, oh my, like this dude's presence is just like, you know, like huge.
And if you guys want an EXO, you know, live performance to watch Wolf.
Yeah, we got banned for posting it, so can't do that one.
But by far one of the best performances I've ever seen. So
it'll make you really understand. I mean, you could just see the raw talent. I think that's really important.
The presence they give you, man.
It really did teach me a lot about like the presence of like the presence has more like I guess like more force than like, you know, your perceived notion of what they look like. You know what I'm saying? Like it just really shows you that there's a little bit of a difference in like, oh man, I think they look like this or this, and it becomes more of like, oh, that's pretty. And it could be a guy or girl, but like I think I've become more like not accepting, because I was always accepting, but it was like more, what's the word, like affluent? I don't know. It became more reactionary to think of someone more of their presence than their appearance initially.
Gotcha.
Like, especially as a person who like works at GNC, the first thing you think about is someone's like body language, right? But when you think about that, you also attribute traits, and you start to think about like what they should be and what you perceive them as before they talk, because you know they're obviously selling, so you need to understand. But I think once you watch something like K-pop and anime, you kind of like get a feel for like a little bit more of their personality versus like what they look like, and make the suggestion off what they feel like versus what they look like. And I think that was really interesting, because that's something that like you don't really get too often, is like those moments of like changing your process of learning people, you know?
Yeah.
So
like that's odd.
So would you say that anime kind of introduced you to like the Japanese, like Korean, K-pop culture?
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, at that point I didn't care, right? Like I literally even, it wasn't like I didn't care, it was just I didn't know about it. It didn't exist, basically. And all I cared about was, oh man, I want to look like this bodybuilder, I want to look like that bodybuilder, I want to be shredded, want to put in the work, I need to be doing something. I've always had this like mentality of I need to be busy or else I'm like losing at something. And so it's really bad. I mean, it's like super obsessive. I do it with games, and that's why I stream and all that kind of stuff. And so it's really funny because that was kind of similar. Whereas like it was just like, man, like you get to see a whole different side of things. And anime to me was like, I literally felt like I was becoming a better person watching the animes. That was the weirdest thing to me. It's like it was something that was doing nothing, quote unquote, but it was the first thing I could do nothing of that I didn't feel bad for doing it.
Okay.
Like I watched anime and I watched all of it and didn't feel like I was wasting time. I felt like I was literally becoming something more.
I agree.
And that's the weird thing, because up until that point I couldn't watch TV shows because of that. Like that's why I never really watched TV. That's why I was always in the gym. It was like I always need to be doing something and like be motivated. But anime was that like relaxation, but I felt like I was emotionally growing. And that's kind of the fun part about it. It was like I didn't feel like I was wasting my time, and so it was like my out of like being super obsessed with like busy, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was really cool to feel because up until that point it was rare. Yeah.
I think I'll probably have something similar like that. Well, here's a question for anime.
Yeah.
So what's one moment in your life that anime put a big impact on you? Like, in a moment in your life where, like, you know, if I didn't watch anime, like, I probably would have been different for that moment.
Before we go to that aspect, real quick for Greg.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
What is your favorite anime?
That's right. Yeah, I forgot.
and then favorite gaming series, and then we'll go to Cam's question.
Yeah. That is elementary because you watch crap ton of
Yeah.
anime.
It's really hard, primarily because it's like I think I have like favorite animes for different things. Like for wonder and awe and like something that made me feel like I was like traveling the world or like experiencing something so beautiful and like crazy. The only time I ever felt this otherwise was with Avatar, like the blue people, you know? I felt like I was introduced to a world and I got brought into it, and the beautiful moments were like endless in this whole anime, and that was Made in Abyss, and I literally felt like the whole time I watched that I was exploring, like I felt like I was dungeon diving, like cave diving, like
awesome.
It literally made me feel like I was laying in bed, but I was literally exploring this world with these characters. And it just felt like I was watching Nat Geo, but anime fantasy style. And so, like, everything I was seeing was like, oh, it, like, felt so real when you watched it. So it was like, man, like, it took me to another place. But I think in terms of, like, overall motivation or, like, something that hit me the hardest, I think obviously it was, like, Naruto. Because of the fact that it was like 400 episodes and I watched it all so seamlessly that I felt like nothing. It literally felt like that whole month. If you were to ask me what that month was, you would ask me like what moment I was doing at that day, and I'd tell you what battle I was in. Like it was that like bad, man. It was like I was so into it that I was like a month, dude. It was like, think about it. There's 430 episodes, and all of them are 20 minutes, maybe 17 without like the ending and blah blah. So I would skip it, but. Literally like 17 minutes times 430, and I finished that in a month while working out. Yeah. So every breathing moment that I wasn't like on a treadmill lifting weights, working, or well, I was doing it while working too because I just had a lot of downtime. So I wasn't doing paperwork at work or this or that. It was Naruto, so I was living it, and so I think it hit me really hard because every moment in there, and it teaches you like to scale up, and it's all. Everything about it, man, it teaches you like the sad, the happy, all that kind of stuff. So it was one of those things where I think that would probably be the most impactful. But if I was to say like my favorite currently, there's one that kind of hit recently that's really cool that I want more people to know about because I want to spaz about it. But it's Tokyo Revengers, and I read the manga, and that's why I think I'm more into it than most people. But the anime itself, or like the manga, Tokyo Revengers is probably one of the coolest. It's one of the only modern settings I've ever actually felt like is really cool to watch. It's Tokyo Revengers is a brotherhood kind of anime, man. It's like these little hooligans, like these gangs, but this gang wants to kind of set a different example, and it starts the story off in a very odd place. And I'll just kind of give you like what the synopsis of the thing was, so I don't spoil much. But this is like in the summary of it. But essentially, a guy that's a NEET nowadays, doesn't leave his house, doesn't do anything. He's your typical anime character, doesn't leave his house, a nerdy guy. But this guy actually is more traumatic than before that. And so what ends up happening is essentially he gets hit by a train and ends up going back in time.
Oh, shoot.
Well, he regretted his life while he was an adult, and now he's put back in time. Now he has the chance to change everything.
Whoa.
But the reason it's important is because of his actions, someone died because of him, basically. Yeah. So now he has to go back, and then it's one of these things where it's really cool. Yo, it's Dill Pickett and Dizuma. Yo, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
What up?
We're all here.
Yeah, I tried that, and
I'm telling you right now, dude.
I couldn't get past
podcast.
like, the second episode.
Thanks for joining in.
But it's probably because I've seen dive more.
You have to just let it go.
Gaming, so
it's so insane how fun it is. But what I would say is that the best part about it was that it kind of gives you that momentary oh cool, this is what happened and this is kind of what's going on, and then he gets a chance that no one else gets to go back and fix it. Yeah. And when you watch the actual change, it's like ReZero. It's like watching ReZero, where it's traumatic the whole way through because it's not like fun deaths, it's not like fun this and that. There's a lot of bad shit that happens throughout the whole anime. Dang. But the fun part about it is like he's trying to fix a million problems, and he's like, what would you do? So if you were in a situation where you could change history, but every time you change history, something else happens, later down the road and breaks that. Now you have to figure out how to fix both of them. It's this compounding problem where he has this like God complex, so he has to fix all of these problems, and they just keep adding on.
Dang.
Imagine, like, you get the power to, like, today, you go back and you can fix anything you want, but all the problems that happen, will actually change history.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it compounds. And so he keeps trying to fix everything.
That's so great.
Imagine
that's
managing all that.
That's realistic, too, because, like, a lot of people say, like, I want to go back and change this.
Yeah.
One problem you fix, it's going to create another one.
And that's exactly.
That's the thing that people don't think about.
Exactly. But the way they do it in the storytelling and all these characters you meet that are, like, very grayscale, the cool thing is the characters aren't good or bad. They're pretty gray. So even the character, because it's basically a bunch of gangs. It's a bunch of little, like, younger gangs, and they eventually are in this cusp of, like, getting older, and they're like on the cusp of getting into older gangs, which is more like drugs and stuff. These guys are just like fighting for territory, trying to do things and like own their territory, and it starts off as like this funny
Little
like
grunts.
yeah, it's this funny little thing where there's nothing like illegal about it or anything, and then now but they're at the age where they're all getting to that point where they're choosing whether to be like in that like world of gangs and like harder things like prostitution, drugs, stuff like that, or if they're trying to stay out of it. And then the whole part of the main gang that you're kind of following along to the story is that they want to change the world of gangs. You know, they want them to make it like gangs aren't necessarily something to be afraid of. You know, like there are people that do good, you know, and be that thing. Like they're a brotherhood versus like a gang. Yeah. And so I think when you follow this main character who's a baby, and you watch him evolve, it's really fun because he's not an overpowered character by any means. It's just his willpower is overpowered, and that's his power is literally just being willful, and that's the cool thing. It's super motivational. In terms of motivational anime, that would be it right now. I can't say there's anything. Solo Leveling is kind of on par with it, but I would say Tokyo Revenge is like a real version of that.
Wow,
it's cool.
Awesome.
I really like it. Yeah.
So what about favorite game series or favorite game?
This is amazing.
I really don't even know if I could say.
There's no game that like when you think of a game, it's like got you hooked.
No, because I've been hooked on so many.
Yeah.
Like here's a caveat to this too. I stream games, so a lot of my memories of games are attached to moments that I played with people.
Yeah.
So I play MMOs majorly, and that's kind of like why it's hard for me to say, because no matter where I go, there's always moments that I really, really like. Like I remember BDO, there was countless moments of like, I literally was having the time, like the best time you could ever have with any sort of game, right?
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it's like, I think BDO is a shit game, and I always thought it was a shit. Even when I started the game, I thought it was a shit game. But because you're playing with people and you're having so much fun and the systems in place allow that like connectivity to feel there, you feel like you're playing with friends, and it makes these connections that make like online not so distant.
Yeah, we've had some good times on BDO.
Dude, for real.
I mean, some really good times.
And that's the thing, is that's why I always hate not playing it, because it's one of those things where it's like, man, what if I go back? And it's like every time I go back to BDO, it's the same thing. I get like 2 moments of like fun, and then it's like I'm grinding the whole other time to become relevant, right? Yeah. And that's the part that sucks, is there's just no point, right? Because it's like, even if I have the best gear, then it becomes boring. Like, even when I was starting to get up in gear score, and I was starting to just clap some kids, it started to feel real boring. Like, and that's the thing. It's like you're fighting for something to push towards.
He's a striker, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was clapping.
All you gotta do is just press E, so...
Yeah, press E.
Press E, and that's it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's really funny, though, because when I started getting gear score, and I was fighting people that I was fighting this whole time up until, because I played this game, but I played on and off, so I never really had as much gear as everyone. And what ended up happening was we had a bunch of guildies from the past that we were just dueling. A couple of them like basically got rage quitted because I had as much gear as them, and I was just shitting on them. Like, because I mean, keep in mind, I've been playing at a real heavy deficit for a long time, so like you learn to be better and more like accurate with things because you have to. You die in one shot, right? And so it's one of these things where like it started like Alex and like even Leon. Like there's a dude named Leon who we played with who's like probably one of the best video players I've ever played with, and he's really good. And so it was really funny to watch like the gradual scale of like I could kick everyone's ass, like whoever was fighting, at least have an even fight or at least have an even record with, and then it'd be like, man, when I started getting gear, it's like, okay, now I'm just clapping kids, and it was like it felt so boring because it was like. I used to remember the rush of like, oh man, low health, and you're like running around trying to get that last grab, And so that, I would say, I'm going to give kind of a cop-out answer in a way. MMOs
Just in general, MMOs.
MMOs in general would
Okay.
be my favorite
Yeah.
moments. If I was to say the one that I probably had the most moments in, I would honestly say, even though I didn't play it the longest, I would say BDO was probably the most heightened moments I've ever had because we streamed with like 30, 40 people and we had some crazy funny moments. Just some rare occasions.
Yeah.
We got we befriended like the best guild in the game at the time and
Yeah.
had them come out and like protect us and shit. And we were
That's
fucking
awesome.
around and it was
That's
just,
cool stuff right there.
yeah, it's just like literally
Community.
yeah, we
Community.
just
And it really is what makes BDO more fun is having a community and,
dude,
and streaming it is a whole nother layer.
well, because you would get ganked and people
Yeah.
would fuck with you the whole time. But
Yeah.
then it was fun because you'd make friends that were
Yeah.
like part of these huge guilds you didn't even know. You were just having fun with people. And you're a fresh perspective to a lot of players because you're just enjoying the game. You don't care about gear. I didn't care about anything. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to fuck around, have fun. And I enjoyed every moment of it. And it was one of those things where it was the same thing. People like are drawn to that because you're just enjoying a game that they're grinding at. So like while they're grinding for their siege and stuff like that, they're like, oh, I'm gonna watch this fucking dude fuck around and do what I want to like fuck around, you know.
Yeah.
But they don't have the time to because they need to grind shit out. And so it was really cool. It made some really cool friends. And that's the one thing about BDO that's always kind of made me want to go back is the amount of potential moments that you could have, as well as the community being so like supportive because that's what they are. Like they're watching you on a second monitor even if they're playing, or they're worried about your view count because they're trying to like they want you to do well because they know that you're playing a game that doesn't like that. The only thing that's keeping it float is them. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
That's cool,
it's this community aspect of like they care about things.
Only if every game was like that.
Yeah. And then a caveat to that is World of Warcraft. I played for the longest time, so I have so many moments of like me and my brother playing and like even every expansion we did 24-hour streams and that kind of shit. So it was really crazy because like that was like one of those where like seasonal moments for me.
Yeah.
Is like I just remember always going back to it, trying the new stuff, playing for a little while, getting like really good at arenas, trying to get some mounts and stuff off the arena titles and all that, and then I would just like finish it and then quit. And I would never make to like the third part of the expansion, the third patch. I would always beat the first raid, do the mythic raid, do like the hardest content in the first couple patches, and then I'd be like, okay, fuck this, I'm done. And it was always like that. But
I did what I was supposed to.
yeah, exactly. Literally, it's like I got my titles, I got my rank, I got my mount. I don't give a fuck anymore. And that was kind of it. So yeah, I don't know. I can't game. I play too many games. There's too many games.
MMOs. Just
MMOs would be like my favorite.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So I guess kind of going back to Cam's question, most impactful anime. I guess you already said for you, it was.
Well, a time in your life when anime impacts you the most.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So it was a situation that like it happened and like you thought about an anime and it changed what you would have done.
I mean, I don't. I keep going back to Naruto because Naruto, the main character himself, was so like strong and just very powerful. Like just with his
strong-willed.
his dedication, and like almost with me going through school and just battling through every day of these exams and all this other crap that you had to do and take classes that were not relevant, and maybe future podcasts we'll talk about
That is a whole podcast in itself.
education and how flawed it is. But anyway, I would say Naruto and just kind of his character, and I mean I can't really point out any specific scenes, but just him as a general character and always trying to fight and be the best that he can be, and then also try to protect the people that's meaningful for him. So yeah, I can't really think of a specific scene, but when I kind of look back at different moments of my life, I can kind of see how Naruto has really just shaped me, and just kind of never giving up and continuing to push
awesome.
on. So
Yeah.
Power of anime.
yes.
I agree. Yeah. All right,
All right, Cam, you up?
I'd say for me, anime in the gym has always been like hand in hand for me because like at the time when I was working out, I was watching a lot of YouTubers, so like Mark Fit, Christian Guzman, Alfleet, Jim Shark. I had those moments like as far as like those like kind of like the people I looked up to as far as like goals for me, like I want to look like that one day. But as far as like the motivation to get through those times in the gym was anime. So like you said, Naruto, his willpower, like never wanting to give up. Iki from Air Gear, Ichigo from Bleach. I watched his older anime. It's on Netflix. If you guys want to watch it, it's a martial arts anime called Kenichi Strongest Disciple. And this guy is like a really nerdy guy. And like he's like, I want to be the strongest guy and I'm gonna save people that are in need. Whenever a situation comes up, he gets scared. He's like,
Yeah.
I can't do anything. I can't do it if I want to. And then like he meets this girl that's, you know, raised by martial arts masters and like sees that he wants to be strong. He's like, I want to help this guy. So she introduces him to her dojo, which is full of like pretty much masters of the old ways.
Yeah.
Doesn't want anything to do with the modern world. Their little dojo is secluded from the rest of the city. And he learns to be mentally strong, confident in himself, and to face fear head on. And if you see him from the very beginning, this scared little kid that, you know, he wants to help people, but he's scared of confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
And then each lesson that their masters teach him helps him overcome an obstacle. So for him, from start to finish, huge changeover, and that really motivated me. And then recently, in the last couple of years, my hero really pushed me in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, seeing Midoriya, you know, work out hard with All Might, you know, that was like really cool for me to watch and see this kid that has no power whatsoever, but he's just so like, you know, believes in himself. Like, I have to have power. And then All Might comes, and then he gives him that.
Yeah.
And then becomes like one of like the coolest, like, you know, protagonists, in my opinion. And
God, dude, even
yeah,
everything
YouTube is bad.
Dude, everything that everyone has seen so far in My Hero, we're getting close to that hour.
Well, that's your minute.
Oh, did it?
Uh-oh.
Rip. But, yeah, it's really funny because in terms of My Hero, dude,
I'm still behind.
dude, I see people watch it and I'm just like, dude, you have no idea. Like,
Oh, because you read the manga.
I read, yeah,
so.
I'm current on manga, so it is.
Is it manga or manga?
Either one.
Tomato, tomato.
Yeah, that's totally one of it. I never thought the words matter, but dude, it's so it like it's exponentially good. Like it's Shippuden levels of like it gets Shippuden levels of like amazing.
Yeah.
And
I think I'm. Oh, what am I? A season and a half behind, maybe.
yeah, dude. Well, the whole anime is just like far behind, so it's
Yeah.
like, dude, by the time it gets to that, it'll be so insane.
Dude, Black Clover.
Oh, yeah.
That's another like
Yeah.
really strong anime for me.
Fairy tale vibes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just plus he's got a great sword.
Black Clover's always been kind of that in between for me. There's definitely moments where it's super up, but I definitely like for majority of it, I'm kind of like, eh. It's all right. It's very so. In the end, the last season was kind of what I wanted it to be in the beginning, and then scale from there.
Yeah.
Because it is very like meh in the beginning, meh in the middle, and then the end starts becoming like one of those things where it is a little bit better. But in general, yeah, it's kind of. Yeah, Black Clover is just kind of like let down. It's kind of like I wished more for it.
See, I mean, I like that. It didn't really let me down, but
I like that.
But yeah, I guess just preferences.
Yeah, I just wish they did more. I like their system of magic, and I loved all the like.
I mean, they
concepts.
can though do more, right? Or
I think they're done with the anime.
wait, they're done.
Yeah, I don't think they're.
Yeah,
I don't think they're doing anything for the anime.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I think they finished.
Yeah. Because I think currently there is.
Is there still a manga?
Hey, thanks for joining, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's manga, but
Is the manga past?
I think the manga is getting ready to be done.
Oh, like done, like it's
Maybe.
like the story is.
So
I
we're
haven't-
talking about anime right now.
It's
Yeah.
not getting canceled.
I think the anime's canceled.
Right now, the topic is
Well, the
how
manga,
the
though. What about the
anime
manga,
impact
though?
our lives.
I don't think the manga's
at
canceled.
a certain moment.
Oh,
I
okay.
think
The
the
manga
anime is
is,
canceled.
so it's almost kind of like similar to Bleach then.
Yes. You'll be able to get an ending, I think, but it's not there yet. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but from what I heard, I think that they're not really pushing the anime.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the anime wasn't doing too well.
That's crazy. It's such a good anime. I love it.
Yeah, but it's always struggled.
Talk about Black Clover, by the way.
Everyone hated the anime in the beginning because of
Well,
Asta.
Asta, yeah,
No,
the
it was,
beginning,
like,
it was
rating-
very loud.
In the
and-
ratings, it was dog shit. Like it wasn't
Really?
even, it wasn't even
I'm
worth
so
being
surprised.
aired.
But they
Yeah,
toned
it's
him
because
down.
Asta was very
Yeah.
very like loud. And
But they
annoying.
toned him down though. I think they toned him down.
Well, yeah, but they were also saying like the main character. So what it got a lot of problems with was it essentially got the negative connotation that it was copying Naruto.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, because you have Sasuke, who's the prince character,
Oh, yeah.
And then you have Naruto, who's the loud kind of, I'll figure a way out, blah, blah, I don't have parents, this and that.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to infinitely scale with the power of a demon. I mean, it very close. And as you watch the anime, if you really pay attention, Asta is basically Naruto.
Yeah,
and so is the other guy. Yeah.
It's weird, pretty much. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, so they got really pissed off because it's the same company. So they're like, you're kind of just like buying your own story and then just remaking. Although I do think later on, it hits a stride of its own. When they introduce the new kingdoms and they start getting into the negative parts of like the world and like not as much of like, oh hey, everything's great in the Clover Kingdom, you start seeing there's a lot of like bad stuff going on. And
conspiracy and
when you start seeing the next arc, I think you guys have seen a little bit of it if you're close, but either way, you see the other kingdoms, and then when you actually go to that other kingdom, that's when the story starts really like picking up, and you start seeing like power scaling because
it's good. I mean, I've watched 2 where they stopped at.
Yeah, I think the last thing I watched was when the Diamond Kingdom attacked, and then what's the Bulldogs or the Bull? They're like captain.
Oh,
samurai captain.
Yeah.
Oh, the Black Wolves.
Yeah.
Yami.
Yami. When he like confronts like the other guys, like take your mask off. Yeah, because he looks similar to the.
So that is okay. So you're not even close, dude. When you get to
as far as who it has.
So dude, it scales. It scales hard. Like it starts getting really good.
Really.
And I know Dustin was telling me like there was a point where it's like, dude,
it's insane.
Like it's insane,
dude.
Right now. Like,
when they ended that last season, like the current last season, it was legitimately. I was like, dude,
I'm hyped.
I thought they were gonna keep the anime going because of it.
I'm hyped.
And I think they might. They did. So what they said.
I think they will have to, dude.
I mean they hard canceled it. Whether they bring it back is a different story, I guess. But they said it wasn't bringing enough numbers. But it was also at the highest numbers it had ever had whenever it got canceled.
It's so odd.
Well, because they wanted to end it before it became a loss.
I don't know. That's right.
I don't know. If it comes back, I'm happy to see it. I really do want to see it. If not, I'll just read the manga. But
yeah.
I need to go on a third-party website and watch the rest of it then.
It's good.
Got you, dude.
That's good.
But back to the
support
topic.
anime.
Back to the topic. Let me finish one thing on my side real quick. So we talked about how anime impacted us in a certain part of our life.
Yeah.
So I was saying like anime and working out was like hand in hand for me, but also not only that because watching those gave me motivation to push through my workouts and like this is the end goal in my mind, like what I wanted is like the same like idea I have when like I watch animes and like these main characters overcome all these obstacles and like you as a viewer you're like, oh man, I'm so stoked for this guy. And that's like how I feel like when I'm working out and like I see like I'm lifting like 5 pounds more than I did last week, or like I'm finally I perfected this workout and it's like second nature now. But on top of that, heartbreak, anime helped me through heartbreak. I've had, I think like since watching anime, I've had like 3 heartbreaks and like anime saved me.
Yeah.
Between anime and these guys, and the gym, those are like the things that saved me. And I'd say like anime really pushed like you watch a lot of animes where like your characters get broken, man.
Yeah.
And like somehow they get out of it, and it's usually the people around them that save them. Like Midoriya.
When you get to feel it, like you get the way they break down is pathetic, and like they're broken. Like it's legitimately
feel it.
Yeah. Like they don't pull punches on like how it makes you feel. You kind of like look at it and you're like, oh, the mirror. You're like, oh shit. You're like, yeah, I feel like this. You're like, I feel like this, And,
hey, Damien, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole crew's here.
Yo.
Damien, another long-time friend.
Yep.
Appreciate you coming in.
But I mean, it's crazy. I think that moment of like break is always interesting. I think for me, realistically, I think anime serves as like, no matter what anime really, it serves as like my solace point, I guess. Like it's really like for me, anime, manga, whatever, is what I like to do when I'm like laying down, getting ready to go to bed. It like puts me in this mindset of like, no matter what I'm feeling while watching the anime, when I look back at it, the amount of time that I feel like relaxed or like feel better about just like chilling is driven by anime. Like I said, it was the one thing that like kind of gave me that excuse to not do anything or feel busy or feel like I needed to be doing something. And it became this thing where I was super motivated by it, where I was like, oh man, I can sit here and fuck around and like watch this and like feel the emotions of whatever this anime is presenting. And then it's like, but I didn't feel guilty about it. I think for me, so it's always been that point of like, I want to relax. I want to feel like I just want to exist somewhere else. It's one of those things where it's a really good motivation for that, and it's one thing that like makes it easier to do because it's like I don't have to think, but it takes me somewhere else. Or I don't have to think, but it makes me feel the hype of like this battle or this and that. I think it's why a lot of times it's pretty cool. Oh, hey, what's up, Isaac? What's up, man?
Yo, Isaac, what up,
Yeah,
dude?
Isaac. Yo, what's up, man?
Yeah, dude, we're just spazzing about anime. But yeah, I think for me, anime is literally just like my my me time. Like it's when I watch it, it's like healing. When I watch it, it's like you're just sitting there relaxing, resting, and it gives you that like away from anything. No matter what's going on, no matter how you feel, whether you're frustrated, whether you feel like I'm stressed out, or like luckily I don't feel that too much. But in times I do feel like I'm overwhelmed. I mean, it's one of those things where I can turn on anime and it's just like, okay, cool. At least for this moment, it's gone. Yeah. Don't care. Like
especially when I watch like some of those like the really like upbeat animes, like really like kind of like just like wow, I like this anime.
Dude, that's
good vibes.
Dude, Made in Abyss is what's up, you weebs? Yo, not much, dude. Just
we call it a weeb.
Just being
you a weeb,
bro. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but
hey, where you at, man? We need a 4-seat for you, man.
Yeah, dude, what's up? What's up, bro? I got a lap. But it's one of those things where I think it really does serve that purpose, and I think for a lot of people it is that. It's that cathartic like release that you don't have to produce yourself. You know what I'm saying? Isaac, a little smiley. But you don't have to produce it yourself, and I think that's the difference. It's like when you're consoling yourself, or you're trying to just keep busy, or you're having a hard time in life, or something like that. For a lot of people, and when you watch an anime and it takes you out of that and just puts you in this world of like you're watching the scale up of a human, the psychology behind that, dude, it just like tricks you into feeling it. You know, you feel that character scale up, you feel that power up. You're like you're not that character, but that's you right there in that moment. You know, you feel the same way that character feels. You're proud.
It's so immersive.
Yeah.
Or like they just put you in the character's shoes, and you're right there with them, experiencing everything.
Well, it introduces you to such different perspectives as well, because things that you wouldn't agree with are presented to you, and you're kind of like, oh man, how do I feel about this? You know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that in like things like Shield Hero and shit like that. Like that's an anime it puts you into this like mindset of like, what would you do if you were a hero character, but you got stuck in a situation where they're trying to fuck you over constantly, but you're the one that's the key to fixing the world and you know it, but they keep fucking you along the way because they don't like you.
Yeah.
You're trying to save a world that is literally fighting against you, but you by like your moral standard, you feel like you have to save these people.
Yeah, that's another. I'm trying to think of other animes that's where like you were really involved with a character, but you're so pissed off because they keep like downing that character. But like Shield Hero, you know,
Shield Hero is
he's such a a genuine good guy, and he's really trying to make a difference. And these other people are just like
trying to put him down,
and put his reputation like.
Never seen like that in One Punch Man. When there's like this alien comes out of the ocean, starting like hits news. Closest heroes come by and they come first on the scene, and like these are really strong. They're A-class heroes.
Yeah.
Get stomped by this dude.
Yeah.
Even like one of the bad guy characters, he escaped from prison. He was leaving. Oh, what's up, guys? And he was leaving the prison, and he confronts this one. Like this at this point, this guy, his like sole thing is to get One Punch Man.
Yeah.
And he's strong in his own right.
Yeah.
And he takes on this, this bad guy, and he ends up getting his ass whooped. You know?
And the other hero takes the credit for it.
Yeah, and like this little guy on a bike comes in like he's a hero, but he has no actual like power. But like everyone respects him, He comes on the bike, he rides there on his bike, gets off of it, gets his little stance, and the monster one shots him, And One Punch comes right when it happens. It's like, oh man, you did your best, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I'll take care of the rest. And then he punches him one time and kills him,
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, you just taking, all these heroes, they did all the damage. You come in here and take all the credit, But One Punch Man really is really strong.
Yeah.
And so and he just accepts it at that moment. He's like, whatever.
Yeah, I don't care.
He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
I think a real long term one of that you guys can probably relate to is Itachi. I mean, Itachi itself is a character. He's literally the epitome of a character that was working for the greater good in a sense of like he's a Thanos. Like he's legitimately, he knew what was best for the world and was willing to do it, and so it becomes that. Even when me and Isaac talk, it's funny because I come up with this new term of like it's a Thanos hero, because it's like it's hard to explain anything other than that. But it's a character that's so grayscale that understands the value of like doing something that might be conceived as negative, and might be like negative to some people, but it's like necessary. So he's like Itachi was a character that did like a necessary evil, but it was so long term that people
so forced like way in the future.
That it's one of those things where like you literally watch Itachi go through the whole story and everyone hates him. It's like, this guy's a fucking dickhead, blah blah blah. and then you eventually see the point of view of like what actually happened, and then it flashes back, and you're like, oh shit, dude. Kevin, we're not putting in the video. No one knows what you're doing right now, man.
Little bros back.
Wait, he could join in the video?
If we let him, yeah.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, but he's probably fapping or something. You gotta watch out. He's showing us a Fortnite kill.
Shows butt cheeks.
Dang.
Dude, you can come in person. It's in person only, you know? I'm streaming. Well, okay, you can't push. That's the point.
Oh my.
Oh god. But either way, I think it's one of those things where, yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see that perspective, because it's like, you know, as a person, could you really? I'm happening exactly, but that's why you're not in the video. But I think it's one of those things really where it's like, you know, you can literally watch these kind of things and like put yourself in the shoes of like someone that does something that you would never do. You know, like imagine putting yourself in such a shitty position and taking all that flack and living a hard life just to help people that you'll never get to see after it's done.
Yeah.
Like imagine that. Like for me personally, I'm way too selfish for that. I'd be like, nope, I don't get to see it. Don't get to see the change. Don't get the whatever. I'm not a part of it. You know. So hey Heather.
Yo.
But yeah, Daryl, come get me, Kevin.
Hey, you passed your learners.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? It's
Growing up.
After the 4th time.
Hey guys, if you guys still watching this video, once again, we appreciate you guys stopping by.
Yep.
And this is something we do often. We have an Instagram, a TikTok, if you guys want to support us. And, so guys, and if you guys want to, these guys inside our chat right now are all part of the ThreeOfKingz Community Discord. If you guys want to be part of the community, definitely join in on us. It's a really cool group of people. And, it's coming in.
Woo!
And yeah, so like definitely join the community. We always, you know, are happy to bring new people in and expand our little community. We're all good people here. You know, one of us will always be in the Discord if you want to talk to us.
Yeah.
And at night, there's always one of us playing games. So like, you know, I play League of Legends with a little small group of people. Lannister is one of the people that's been part of our community forever. So Lannister, if you're watching this,
and I think just kind of going forward. So this podcast was mainly just kind of getting to know us.
Yeah.
Following that, we're going to be doing kind of different topics, different things, gaming,
everything,
anime,
really.
Everything.
Yeah.
Kind of our takes on different aspects. So yeah, this podcast was mainly just kind of getting to know us.
We'll have some topics, some stuff that we can kind of
Yeah.
go over that's more like niche and that kind of stuff. But I think I really do want to keep this pretty free form and keep it so where we're just kind of like talking to you guys, you know. So you know, you guys want some background noise? It's good stuff, you know.
And then we're gonna try to keep it around an hour ish.
Yeah. Where are we at right now?
So, I mean, we're at hour 16, so I mean, and it flew by. So I mean, I think it's okay for things to go a little bit past, but I think we'll try to keep it relatively close to this.
Yeah. And maybe next time, if you guys are interested, we can talk a little bit about.
I think eventually we could also. Yeah, we could also go into.
Because if we do TOK anime, it has to be the whole podcast.
Yeah, so I want this to kind of be a little bit of a gem for those who like kind of watch it and like care about the anime and stuff as well. I want to provide maybe some shots or like some details about the world that maybe other people won't know. So it's things like that, like because the anime, like some details about the fights and all that kind of stuff. Just a version so people can hear a little bit about it and hear us talk about it, because we don't really have any way for people to learn about it otherwise, you know. So I think it's kind of fun for people to kind of figure it out and see it and just kind of get their first experience of it, you know. So I think that'd be really cool to kind of go into.
Yeah.
So what's up?
What up? Yeah, don't worry about us. You're more than welcome to.
Yeah, podcast. You're welcome to be on it if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She texted me. She's like, "Hey, this is like 30 minutes. Can I come in?"
Oh shit!
I didn't even see
Heather,
it.
you just come in.
Or you just sitting there at the door, just chilling.
No, it's the car.
No. Dude, you come in and ball out.
Big shout out to Julian's lady. Every time we come over here, she got some kind of snack for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely appreciate you.
Anytime.
All right, good stuff.
Yeah, so go ahead and wrap it up. So yeah, guys, we appreciate you guys stopping by. We will be doing reaction videos.
Heather, Kevin says you could pick him up.
No.
He's smart.
Heather, you
He
can always come pick
always
me
works
up.
the angle. He
Oh
says, "Hey, instead of
my
sitting in your car
God.
for 30 minutes, just come pick me up. It's fine."
No, you can always come pick me up. Hey, he's got his learners now, so he can drive.
Yeah.
But I would not let him drive.
Oh, yeah, no.
Hey,
Sorry,
dude,
Kevin.
hater,
Thank
dude.
you, man. But yeah, so thanks for stopping by, guys. We will be doing this more often. We will be picking up on Instagram as well. And as you can see, we guys are doing a live stream here. So if you guys ever want to come in, stop in, comment, and if you guys want to chime in what we're talking about in our discussion, definitely let us know.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear you guys' opinions too, because it's live and want to interact with you guys. So
yeah, and I mean, if you comment, maybe we'll kind of read out some of the comments and react to it on the next podcast. So.
Sure, yeah, for sure. And
All right.
All right, guys. Well, hey, so
see you guys.
Until next time, rise or fall. Peace.
Yes. The King's Glaive. Nerds and warriors. Oh, yes. Can you see it rise to never fall? With the oh my gosh. This is... Oh, I'm gonna wear this so much this summer. Like, I would honestly put it on right now, but I already have one on. This... Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Like, I love your clothing.